Theory and Practice of Silviculture, lecture number 3. In this lecture, we are going to study about the locality factor, site factor or habitat factor. In previous lecture, we studied about the climatic conditions. Under the climatic category, we studied about the solar radiation, light, temperature. Then we studied about the snow, frost, and today we are going to study it about the wind. And previously, just now in the previous lecture number 2, we studied the most important factor in climatic, that was rainfall. But this let's go to a short revision. This factor of locality or site factor is classified into 4 categories. Number 1 is a climatic factor, number 2 is topographic or physiographic factor, number 3 is edaphic factor, then biotic factor. These all factors, they affect the vegetations in that particular area, and we should know how is the effect and what are those tree species and what are the species being the growth rate with this climatic, edaphic, topographic or biotic factors been affected. So in climatic factor, we studied the solar radiation, we studied about the light, we studied about the heat, temperature, moisture, which was very important as a source of rainfall. We studied in previous lecture. In this lecture, we'll carry on with the wind. Now, under the climatic factors only, wind is very, very important. Now, how the wind affect the vegetations, we'll study. So wind has a great influence not only in the form of the trees but also to their distribution. It has a favorable as well as harmful effect on trees. So trees may be caused both by direct or indirect action of wind. So how it affects the wind? Let's have a positive active effect. So then we'll go for the negative effect. Positive effect: the wind brings fresh supply of carbon dioxide to the foliage. If there is a slow wind, gust of wind, it will remove the exchange of gases there. So it will bring the fresh carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide is very important for photosynthesis. It helps in photosynthesis. So wind also helps not only in that photosynthesis, it helps in pollination of the trees. If there is a pollination, there is a formation of fruits, then fruits will give seeds, and seeds are very important for regeneration of the forest. Not only that wind helps in pollination, it also helps for the dispersal of seed in many forests, which are wind dispersal. It helps to disperse from its mother tree. So let's see that how tree helps. Number 1, in photosynthesis. You see, this is the leaves where the wind slowly makes the gases to remove from this part, and carbon dioxide is coming here, and this intake of carbon dioxide is more and more photosynthesis is happening here. The wind also helps in what? Pollination. So this pollination means is an important process for the formation of fruits and seeds. So this pollination, wind, with the wind, it helps in the pollination, and we have fertilization, and then fruit formation is there. So fruit formation is there, then this wind itself carries the seed which is on wing or hairs are there far from the mother tree. So in the mother tree, generally seedlings doesn't survive. So it has to be carried far from the mother tree. So it helps in the dispersal also. What is the harmful effect? So there are some direct and indirect harmful effects. Let's understand about the direct harmful effect of wind. Tapering of bulbs. Just I have explained in my previous lecture about the form factor. So form factor is shape of a tree. So this is a tapering of a tree. Instead of a cylindrical tree, it becomes taperness. So taperness is not a good quality because we have less volume of wood here. So it helps in tapering of the bulbs. Bending of the trees, it gives uprooting of the trees. So these all things happens there. So uprooting of the tree will be there. Branches will be damaged, bending of tree will be happen, tapering of the tree will be happen. Then tree in the open, in the plains and on the ridges are short, and the shape is not so nice. It gives on tapering instead of cylindrical bull. Okay, then trees are often bent and blown away. Trees are been uprooted. the bole of the tree becomes elliptic in shape. So what does harmful effect it does? It makes tapering. You can see the tapering of the bole. Instead of cylindrical, it becomes like this. Why it is like this? Because there are my few lectures on form factor and forest mensuration. You can go in the detail how tapering has happened when it is due to the effect of wind. So to stand itself, it makes its base more. So you can have a prevailing wind. When the wind comes from one side, you call it prevailing wind. It gives a flag shape of tree. You can see that crown, the branches are bent to one side, and it gives a flag shape of tree, which is not of a good quality. You can see how it becomes a flag shape. Then it gives a bending. Now you can see the bending of a tree. It gives a bending effect of a tree, which is also doesn't give a good quality of a timber. Sometimes it breaks down from the middle also. Not only the branches are broken down, even the bole is broken down by the wind when it is in the isolated areas. And then it uproots also sometimes. So there are a lot of harmful effect of the wind, and there is some indirect harmful effect also. Let's understand about the indirect harmful effect. It fans up the fire. If there is some small fire, it will become a big fire. From surface fire to crown fire, it will become. Then it also dries the soil, and you can see the atmospheric water vapors, amount of atmospheric vapors it been flown away, and thereby increasing the transpiration of the tree, and not only from the tree, from the soil also. So it dries up the soil. So when the soil is drying up, the top fertile soil is blown away, deteriorating of soil. So in the coastal area, this salt spray, because coastal area have lot of saltiness in the water droplets, so that salt spray will come, and it will come on the leaves. Those trees which are very sensitive, they will die. So cyclonic winds will be there. They do lot of damage. You can see. Let's go. Number one, it fans up the fire. If there is small fire, it will become a big fire. So forest fire will happen with the wind. Then what will happen due to evaporations? Not only from the plants, it will increase the evaporation, transpiration from the soil also. So you will have a creeping soil erosion. Creeping will go for saltation and then suspension. This is a type of soil erosion which will the topsoil will be deteriorated in that area. Then cyclonic winds. This cyclonic wind is very dangerous. Obviously, will uproot and damage the forest in that area. Then salt spray. This coastal area, this salt spray, they will come, and they will also, which are sensitive, they will kill the foliage. That's why we have some species like casuarina which resist that salt spray, and they are in the coastal area. There are some species we should know which can tolerate the salt spray. There are some indirect effect. Now, as we have completed our climatic category under this locality factor, number one is climatic completed, but we have to understand, to fulfill the climatic factor, we'll understand what is bioclimate. And this is very important, because bioclimate, now we have to understand, after understanding the full climatic factor. Now what is bioclimate? There are two words. You can see the bio, then climate. Let's understand nicely. Several climatic factors: light, temperature, moisture, wind. So there are a lot of climatic factors. So several climatic factors like light, temperature, moisture, wind, etc. affect the vegetation or forest. How they affect? Jointly. Affect the forest vegetation jointly, not individually, not alone. Light will affect only, or separately temperature will affect, or wind, or they will affect jointly. Light, temperature, moisture, wind, together they will affect the forest. Okay, not individually. Now, when these factors interact among themselves, means your light, temperature, rainfall, they what did they do? They interact among themselves. Then what will happen? Their effect is modified. How effect is modified? You have high temperature, you have more rainfall. With high temperature, more rainfall, you will have humidity. This is modified. The humidity is the production of this both interaction. That is called modified. So let's understand again. When this factor light, temperature, moisture, wind or climatic factors, they interact among themselves, their effect is modified to a certain extent and reflected in form of vegetation. These climatic factors, they interact jointly and the effect is what it is reflected in form of vegetation, good vegetation or bad vegetation. This is the reflection. So this climate defined by this modified climatic factor is called bioclimate now. Okay, this jointly interaction climate, this climate defined by this modified climatic factor is called bioclimate, which is reflected in form of vegetation. So let me repeat back. When these factors interact among themselves, which factors? Light, temperature, moisture, wind, whatever. When these factors interact among themselves, their effect is modified now. Modified to a certain extent that these are being reflected in form of vegetation. So the climate defined by these modified climate factors is called bioclimate. Maybe good, maybe bad. So let's take two sites. Now site A, let's take site A and site B. So in site B, we have a good rainfall, you can see a very good rainfall. And we have a good temperature, temperature is also moderate to high. So these two interact and they have given what? They have given humidity. Okay, so all these climatic factors, they interact among themselves jointly, not individually, jointly, and these modify the climate and they are reflected in form of vegetation. You see the vegetation is reflected, good vegetation is been reflected, see very good vegetation. On site A you see we have very less rainfall, high temperature, with less humidity, aridity is more, and this is in the reflection in form of vegetation. Vegetation is very poor here. So this is called bioclimate. This is called bioclimate. The climatic factor influences the vegetation collectively and not individually separately. While affecting vegetation collectively, these factors are modified and infused with each other and reflected in form of vegetation. For example, now, just in previous lecture also I told total rainfall of a place has certain effect on vegetation, but the effect of total rainfall is modified by number of rainy days. If more number of rainy days are there, it has been modified, more better, more luxuriant vegetation is there. So similar to describe moisture as a climatic factor, temperature, precipitation and the factor is being studied. That's why it is very important bioclimate. We see here I told you that this prolonged number of rainy days is more better because this prolonged number of rainy days with temperature, it has modified into humidity and has given a very luxuriant vegetation, more better vegetation, good vegetation. Okay, this is the reflection of what interaction of the jointly of this all climatic factor. This is called bioclimate. You can see high intensity rainfall, I told you, and very less, very poor form of vegetation is here. So this is called bioclimate. I hope you can understand bioclimate. Now, foresters, all the foresters are always interested to know, to find out the potential productivity of an area. Different areas are there. For example, we have one here. We have one area called Jabalpur. So this, what is the potential productivity of this area in central India, in this Madhya Pradesh? This is how much cubic meter of wood we are getting here. Forester is interested. So MIF has been posted here. First of all, he'll be interested. What is the potential productivity of the area? One has been posted here. When you posted here in this northeast in Cherrapunji, you'll be interested. What is the potential productivity of the wood here? What of the forest here? Okay. To obtain this one, we should know the potential productivity. So the potential productivity of Cherrapunji is very high. So cubic meter per hectare per year is more higher as compared to Jabalpur. So let's understand potential productivity. See, light, temperature and moisture are very important factor in plant life. Okay, as I just explained about the climatic factor, where we have light, temperature, moisture, they are very important for the plant growth, for the tree growth, and this predict the potential productivity of the site, that local, that area, how it produces the forest, how it gives your trees, what is the volume there. So potential productivity means productivity which is really obtainable at given site. So Patterson in 1956, on the basis of what? temperature, precipitation, then it's rainfall, growing period, the active period when the trees has been growing, and evapotranspiration suggested CVP index. CVP index is climate, okay, vegetation, and productivity index, CVP index. He calculated under this formula. Okay. So this formula TV into P into G into E divided by TA into 12 into 100. So productivity is indicated by this formula. Okay. This formula is Y is equal to 5.2 log X. This is X. This CVP when we take out is called X minus 7.25. Let's understand it nicely. This is the formula of CVP index. CVP index. CVP index is TV. TV is average temperature. This TV is average temperature in warmest month in degree centigrade. What is P? Into P. P is precipitation, rainfall in millimeter. What is G? G is growing period in months. What is E? E is evapotranspiration reducer. What is TA? Divided by TA. TA. TA is average annual temperature, warmest and coldest month when monthly average is 3 degree or more, into 12 into 100. So this is CVP index, how you calculate CVP index. After that you calculate the potential productivity. Now formula of potential productivity is Y. Y is what? Productivity in cubic meter per hectare per annum. 5.2 log X. What is X? X is CVP index. From here we get, from this CVP dividing this one we get X minus 7.25. So we'll get the productivity that Forestry is interested, that we people are interested. What is the potential productivity of the site? Let's take an example of a Jabalpur. In Jabalpur here, we have CV. In CVP how we calculate? TV is 30, precipitation is 1463, into growing period is 4 months, into evapotranspiration is 45, divided by TA, average annual temperature is 13.5, into 12 into 100 we get 487.67. This we get. Okay. Now this 487.67 is X. So we'll put in this formula Y is equal to 5.2 log X is 487.67 minus 7.25. We get how much potential productivity? We get 6.73 cubic meter per hectare per year for Jabalpur. Cherrapunji, similarly we can calculate it like TV is 20.3 into P is equal to 10160. Okay, into growing period is 10, into 45 is evapotranspiration, divided by TA is 8.4 into 12 into 100. We get how much? We get X is equal to 9207.50. This much we get. We put this X in the formula of this one. Y is equal to 5. X is 9207.50. We get how much? Minus 7.25. We get potential productivity is 13.36 cubic meter per hectare per year. As you can see, the Cherrapunji productivity is more as compared to Jabalpur. So this way you can calculate and know the potential productivity of that area. So you can grow the trees and forests and plantation accordingly. So that is how you decide. So you see the Leh Ladakh, whatever you do, you have potential productivity of 2.04 cubic meter per hectare per year. In Allahabad, this is the Allahabad, you see the productivity is 3.60. You see the Cherrapunji have 13.36 cubic meter per hectare per year potential productivity. So this way forester can know the potential productivity and calculate the productivity of that area and then plan your management accordingly. So apart from that, we should also know the microclimate, because the terrains are very different. You can see there is a terrain is a valley. Here the microclimate is very different as compared to, you can see the full mountains are here, but because microclimate, the climate of a small area differs significantly from general climatic area. General climatic area maybe is Maybe we are having general climatic area, climate of 17 degrees centigrade, but in the pockets, in the small pockets, somewhere it is only 14 degrees centigrade, somewhere 12 degrees centigrade, but generally 17 degrees centigrade. So let's understand microclimate. What is the effect of importance of microclimate in our forest? Microclimate. A microclimate is a small but distinctly different climate within a large area. Small but different within a large area. This is, for example, small microclimate. A microclimate is defined as a climate of a small area which for some reasons differ from the general climatic area. So here the climate, here the general, whatever general climate will be, let's take a 17 degrees centigrade here, for example. Here it may be of only maybe 10 degrees centigrade. This may be the difference. Microclimate, a small area, different climate here is called microclimate. So what is the importance of microclimate? We have to understand as a forester. If proper attention is not given to this important factor, then silviculture operations such as natural regeneration, artificial regeneration, or its growth may completely fail due to adverse climatic or limiting factor. That's why we should know this one. Now, for example, let's see here, Abies pindrow. Okay, or we call it fir. Okay, then let's go this one, Picea Smithiana or spruce. Then let's go here, next is Deodar. Let's go here like Pinus wallichiana, kale pine, Pinus wallichiana. So this is a southern aspect, SOUTHERN. This is southern aspect and this is northern aspect. I'll come to the next lecture what is southern and northern aspect. Let's understand. If in the southern aspect, this is warmer aspect, warm, and this is cool aspect, moist and cool in northern aspect, warm and dry in southern aspect. So if kale or Pinus wallichiana comes at this altitude, for example, it comes at 2000 here, it will go on the northern bit lower, it will go to 1500. Okay, so similarly, if you will have Deodar coming on this aspect here on the higher, it will go bit low in the northern. Okay, so if you can see, you can compare, they are similar here. If kale is coming here in the southern, on the northern you will have what? This is kale, this is Deodar. So Deodar and kale coming on the same altitude, but different is aspect, just because of microclimate. Let's take this one. Deodar is coming here in the southern aspect. This Deodar is coming in the southern aspect. Nearby on the next northern, you have Picea Smithiana. Similarly, if Picea Smithiana is coming here in the same southern side, on the northern, the same altitude, will have Abies pindrow. It is just the effect of microclimate, and microclimate is happening on the changing on the side of the mountain. On the southern warmer is, you have more warmer, on the same altitude on the next, on the northern it will be cooler. So that is the difference. When you do plantation, you should know at what altitude you have to do for the survival. So that is what microclimate and its importance. So in my coming lecture next, we'll be going on the again locality factor, and I'm carrying on the locality factor as I have completed the entire climatic factor. Next we'll be going on the three more categories. One is called topographic or physiographic, then edaphic, then biotic. Keep watching the silviculture series for locality factor. Thank you.